All right, let's get real for a second. When it comes to sex, people love to joke around. They love to exaggerate. They love to talk big. But here's the thing. There are certain experiences a man has in the bedroom that he does not make jokes about. Why? Because those moments aren't just physical. They're emotional. They're unforgettable. They live in his mind long after the night is over. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Matthew. Isn't sex just sex? Don't men just want it any way it comes? And sure, men do love sex, but let's be honest, not all sex is created equal. Some encounters fade from memory as quickly as they happened, but others stick with him like his favorite song, replaying in his head every time he thinks of you. And those are the ones we're talking about today. What makes these moments different is not the wildest position or the craziest acrobatics. It's about two very specific positions that unlock something deeper in him. These two positions are not just about pleasure, they're about psychology. They make him feel things about himself and about you that he cannot laugh off, cannot forget, and definitely doesn't tell the boys as a funny story. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the two best sex positions ever that no man jokes with. And I'm not just going to tell you what they are. I'm going to break down why they matter so much, how they hit him on a deeper level, and how you can use them to create memories that last way beyond the bedroom. Stick with me, because what I'm about to share might just change how he sees you and how he remembers you forever. When we talk about the first position that no man jokes with, it's the one that puts you in the driver's seat. I'm talking about when you're on top, variations of cowgirl. Now, let's pause for a second, because a lot of women underestimate how powerful this position really is. They think, oh, he just likes the view. But that's only scratching the surface. What really drives him wild in this position is the shift in power. Most of the time he's expected to lead. He's expected to set the pace, take charge, and be the one that gives the energy. But when you're on top, that whole script gets flipped. Suddenly, he has to surrender. He has to give control over to you. And believe me, that is both terrifying and intoxicating for him. What's fascinating about this position is how much it plays with a man's psychology. Men are used to feeling dominant, but they rarely get the chance to experience that delicious tension of being vulnerable. When you're moving above him, choosing the rhythm, the depth, and the pace, you're essentially telling him, relax, I've got this. And men don't forget that, because it's not just sex anymore. It's an experience. It's you showing confidence, sensuality, and power in a way that leaves him addicted. Think about it when you're on top. He gets the full picture. He can see your face, your expressions, the way your body moves. That's not just visually stimulating, it's emotional. Those moments of eye contact when you lean down to kiss him, or when you pull back and tease him by going slower than he wants, those are moments he replays in his head over and over again. It's not just about pleasure, it's about memory making. And here's a little secret. What makes this position unforgettable isn't the mechanics, it's the energy you bring into it. Some women freeze up because they think, what if I don't move the right way? But men aren't sitting there grading your performance like a dance judge. What makes him crazy is your confidence. It's the playful smile you give him when you slow down on purpose. It's the way you take charge, then suddenly lean in and whisper something that makes his whole body tense with desire. It's the teasing, the unpredictability, the way you make him feel like he's both being taken care of and being driven crazy at the same time. Here's the part most people miss when you're on top. You're not just giving him physical pleasure, you're making him feel something deeper. You're allowing him to drop his guard, to let go of control. That's rare for a man, because in most areas of his life, he has to stay in control. At work, in social settings, even in other parts of your relationship. But when he's with you in this position, you're showing him that he can just surrender and enjoy. That's a gift. That's why he won't joke about it. He won't reduce it to locker room talk, because deep down, it left a mark on him. The truth is, when a man experiences a woman confidently on top, it doesn't just make him think, whoa, that was hot. It makes him think, she knows herself, she knows me, she knows how to create an experience that I'll never forget. And that's why this position isn't just fun, it's unforgettable. It gives him both the thrill of surrender and the joy of connection. And the combination of those two things, that's what makes him crave you long after the moment is over. Now let's talk about the second position that no man in his right mind ever jokes with, and that's doggy style. Let's be honest for a second. If you ask most men what their favorite position is, at least half of them will say this one without even thinking. And sure, at first glance, it's easy to assume why. It's primal, it's raw, it's intense. But if you stop at that explanation, you're missing the real depth of why this position matters so much to him and why it's seared into his memory long after the moment is over. Doggy style is powerful because it taps into a man's most primal instincts. In that moment, he feels strong, he feels masculine, and he feels like he's fully in his role as the protector, the pursuer, the one who's in control. For a lot of men, this position isn't just about physical pleasure, it's about the psychology of dominance. He feels like he's claiming you, connecting with you in a way that feels wild, uninhibited, and completely free of restraint. And let's be real, that's a part of his nature that doesn't always get expressed in his daily life. Out in the world, he might have to be polite, restrained, professional. But here in this moment with you, he gets to unleash a side of himself that he craves to show, but rarely gets to. But what really makes this position unforgettable is not just his sense of power, it's also what you bring to it. Because as much as he loves feeling dominant, he loves even more when you play with that dominance. When you look back at him, when you reach back and grab his hand, when you arch your back just enough to tease him. It's those little signals that take the experience from simply physical to deeply emotional. In those moments, he doesn't just feel like he's having sex, he feels like you're surrendering to him, trusting him, giving him the freedom to explore that part of himself. And that's intoxicating. Here's the truth, men, don't forget doggy style, not just because it feels good, but because it's visually overwhelming. He gets to see you in a way that burns into his mind. The curves of your body, the way you move with him, the sounds you make that he knows are real and raw. That image becomes a mental snapshot he will carry with him forever. And the funny thing is, he might not even tell you this, because it's so powerful it almost feels like a secret he wants to keep. That's how much it affects him. Another reason this position has such a hold on men is because it strips away pretenses. There's no hiding, no faking, no overthinking. It's raw connection. And that kind of intimacy, even though it's primal and physical, actually creates emotional depth. When you allow him to take that role, you're showing a form of vulnerability that he doesn't take lightly. It makes him feel trusted. It makes him feel wanted. And it makes him feel like he's giving you something only he can give. So when he thinks back on the times he's been with you, this position stands out. Not because it's dirty or wild, but because it's unforgettable. It hits all his senses. It fulfills a deep masculine craving. And it makes him feel both powerful and connected at the same time. That's why no man jokes about it. That's why he keeps it stored in his highlight reel. And that's why when you bring your own playfulness, confidence, and openness into it, you become the memory he never wants to let go of. When it comes to sex, men joke about a lot of things. They'll brag, they'll exaggerate, they'll even make fun of themselves sometimes. But here's what's fascinating. They never, ever joke about certain experiences. And those experiences almost always involve these two positions we've been talking about. So why is that? Why do men avoid turning these moments into locker room banter? It's because on some level, they know these positions touch something far deeper than just the physical act. They know these aren't just casual experiences, they're moments that leave an emotional stamp. Think about it. A guy I might joke about a one-night stand that was awkward, or he might laugh about some position that went wrong. But when it comes to a woman who confidently took control on top, or a moment when he felt completely connected during doggy style, there's no joking. Because these aren't funny stories, they're sacred memories. He can't laugh at them because to laugh would almost cheapen them. And men are far more protective of those memories than most women realize. The reason for this is actually psychological. These two positions strike a balance that speaks directly to both sides of his masculine identity. On one side, he wants to feel dominant, strong, and in control. On the other side, he secretly longs for moments when he can let go, when he doesn't have to perform, when he can surrender and just experience. Doggy style gives him the first part. It feeds his primal instinct to lead. Being underneath you gives him the second part. It allows him to surrender without shame. And because these positions touch both extremes of his desire, they're unforgettable. When a man finds himself in these experiences, he can't just brush them off as fun. They mean more. They're moments where he feels both sides of himself come alive, and that doesn't happen often. You see, most sexual encounters stay on one end of the spectrum. They're either all about his dominance or they're all about his pleasure. But when he gets to feel both, that's when he remembers it as something special. That's why he can't joke about it. It's too real. Another reason men don't joke about these positions is because they often come with real intimacy. Think about being on top. There's eye contact, closeness, the chance to kiss, the chance to connect emotionally. Think about doggy style. Even though it's primal, it creates vulnerability and trust. You're literally turning your back, opening yourself up to him, and allowing him to take the lead. That level of trust doesn't go unnoticed. Men value it more than they'll ever admit, and it's precisely why they hold those moments close to their chest instead of laughing about them. Here's the part that's really interesting. Men are actually more sentimental than they let on. They may not express it with words, but they remember the details. They remember the way you moved, the sound of your voice, the way you looked at them. Those memories stay locked in their minds like a private treasure. So when you hear guys joking about sex, understand this: the things they laugh about are the things that didn't mean much, the things they stay silent on. That's where the truth is. That's where the experiences live that made them feel something they didn't expect to feel. So when I say men don't joke about these positions, it's not just about the sex itself. It's about the way those positions made him feel. They gave him an experience that was equal parts physical and emotional, primal and vulnerable, dominant and surrendered. That's not something he can reduce to a joke. That's something he protects, replays, and craves again and again. Here's where most people get it wrong. They think it's all about the position. They'll say, oh, men love this one, or that position is the best. But let me tell you something. If it were just about the position, men would remember every encounter the same way. And that's not how it works. Some nights stay burned into his memory forever, while others fade away like they never happened. So what's the difference? It's not the position itself. It's the energy you bring into it. Think about being on top. You could be there moving in a way that's technically right. But if you're in your head, if you're nervous, if you're second guessing yourself, he's going to feel that. It won't stick with him. But if you're confident, playful, teasing, if you're actually enjoying yourself, that energy translates. It electrifies the whole experience. He doesn't remember the mechanics. He remembers the vibe. He remembers how you made him feel. It's the same with doggy style. Physically, sure, it's an amazing position. But what makes it unforgettable is how you bring yourself into it. If you're connected, if you show him little signals that you're enjoying it just as much as he is, if you add those subtle touches like looking back at him or reaching back to pull him closer, that's what makes his brain light up. It's not just sex anymore. It's intimacy, and intimacy is what men don't joke about. The truth is, positions are like the stage. They set the scene, but you are the performance. Your energy, your confidence, your willingness to either take control or surrender. Those are the things that make him addicted, because men don't fall in love with a position, fall in love with the way a woman makes them feel in that position. And feelings are what last. Confidence plays a huge role here. A lot of women underestimate how sexy confidence is to a man. When you step into a position like cowgirl and own it, it shows him that you're comfortable with yourself. You're not afraid to take charge. That's intoxicating. On the flip side, when you let go in doggy style and completely surrender, you're showing him vulnerability, trust, and openness. That's equally intoxicating. Together, these create a balance that keeps him hooked. But here's something else that makes all the difference: playfulness. Too many people treat sex like a performance, like they have to get everything right. That's not what makes it memorable. What makes it unforgettable is when you add your personality into it. The teasing smile, the way you laugh, playful little surprises that catch him off guard. That's the stuff that makes him obsessed. Because in those moments, he's not just with a body, he's with you. So when I say it's not about the position, it's about the energy, what I mean is this: you could try the same two positions with different women and it won't feel the same. One might leave him thinking, that was nice. Another might leave him haunted in the best way for weeks, months, maybe even years. And the difference has nothing to do with the angle or the mechanics. It's entirely about the confidence, the presence, and the vibe you bring into that space. That's why these two positions, on top and doggy style, are unforgettable when done right. Not because they're the most complicated, not because they're new, but because they give you the perfect stage to bring your best energy. When you do, he won't joke about it, he won't forget it, and he definitely won't stop wanting more. So now we've talked about the positions themselves and the psychology behind them, but let's take it one step further, because the truth is just doing these positions isn't enough to make them unforgettable. What makes them stay in his mind forever is how you make them your own. The magic is in the details, the little things you do that transform a simple act into a lasting memory. When you're on top, for example, you have this incredible opportunity to set the pace. Most women think they have to go fast or they have to look like they're in a movie scene. But the truth, what drives him wild is when you mix it up. Speed up, slow down, lean in close, then pull back and tease him. Whisper something in his ear that makes him grip the sheets. Give him eye contact. Break it just long enough to make him crave it back. It's not about keeping one rhythm. It's about surprising him. That unpredictability is what locks him in. Because when you're unpredictable, he can't just switch off his brain and go through the motions. He has to stay fully present with you. And when it comes to doggy style, the same rule applies. Don't think it's just about him taking control. You can add your own signature to it too. Reach back and grab his hand, guide it to where you want it. Look over your shoulder with a playful smile. Let out a sound that tells him you're enjoying it as much as he is. Those signals aren't just sexy, they're powerful. They tell him that you're not just there, you're engaged, you're connected, and you're giving as much energy as you're receiving. That's the difference between good sex and unforgettable sex. Men remember when they feel like they were part of something special. If you want to make sure he never forgets you, focus less on being perfect and more on being present. Show your emotions, your playfulness, your vulnerability. Let him see you enjoying yourself. That's something he can't shake off. Because at the end of the day, men don't crave flawless performances. They crave authenticity. They crave the moments where you let go of self-consciousness and just feel. Another way to make these positions unforgettable is by layering in intimacy. Don't be afraid to mix tenderness with the heat. When you're on top, lean down and kiss him unexpectedly. Run your fingers through his hair while you move. When you're in doggy style, reach back and touch him in a way that brings connection into the rawness. These small touches create contrast, and contrast is powerful. It's what makes the experience more than physical. It makes it emotional. Here's the golden rule: unforgettable sex isn't about doing more positions. It's about doing a few positions with more intention. You could have an entire night filled with crazy variations, but if none of them have emotion behind them, they'll blur together. But if you take these two classic positions and pour your confidence, playfulness, and connection into them, they'll stand out in his mind for years. And that's why no man jokes with them. Because when you do them in a way that brings out both his primal side and his emotional side, they stop being positions and start being memories. And memories, especially the ones tied to deep feelings, are what men hold on to the tightest. That's the real secret to making yourself unforgettable in the bedroom. It's not about technique. It's about energy, presence, and the courage to bring your true self into the moment. So here's the truth we've uncovered today, and men may joke about a lot of things when it comes to sex, but they don't joke about the moments that shake them to their core. They don't joke about the times when a woman's confidence, playfulness, and vulnerability collide in a way that makes an ordinary position unforgettable. And that's exactly what happens with these two. On top, you give him the thrill of surrender, the chance to let go and feel taken care of. In doggy style, you give him the rush of dominance, the raw power he secretly craves but doesn't always get to express. Together, strike a balance that no man can forget and no man wants to laugh off. But what really makes them powerful isn't the positions themselves. It's the energy you bring into them. It's your confidence, your willingness to be playful, your ability to mix intimacy with intensity. That's what he remembers. That's what he replays in his head at night. And that's why you don't have to know 1,000 tricks. You just have to bring yourself fully into the moment. Because when you do, you become the experience he'll never get over. Now, here's my challenge to you: stop overthinking what's right or wrong in the bedroom. Stop worrying about being perfect. Instead, focus on being present, on enjoying yourself, and on creating those little moments of surprise and intimacy that he'll never forget. That's how you move from being just another partner to being the woman he remembers. If this spoke to you, I want to hear from you. drop a comment below and tell me what part of this message hit you the hardest. And if you want more real, unfiltered advice on love, intimacy, and attraction, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and share this video with a friend who needs to hear it. Because remember, sex isn't just about positions. It's about creating memories that last. And when you understand that you'll never be forgotten,